Welcome to the Healthy Habit Hotseat, where we chat to extraordinary humans and world-leading health experts to dive deep into the intricacies of the daily habits that have shaped their success. Remember, success leaves clues, right? I'm your host and resident healthy habit coach, Loz and I cannot wait to help you re-energize your life so you too can create opportunity, vitality, and abundance to become the master of your own incredible healthy destiny. Now, let's get into today's conversation. Today, I welcome back Brian Bradley. For more than 25 years, Brian has been studying true biomechanics and human anatomy using the Egoscue method and sharing his learnings across the world. In this interview, I discover Brian's habits, routines, and strategies for creating success, happiness, and abundance. Today's episode is sponsored by MyoSpot's tongue elevation trainers. MyoSpots are small dissolvable pads about 6 by 2 millimeters in size. They stick to the roof of your mouth and slowly dissolve with tongue elevation. Over 1 hour of tongue elevation, you'll learn to nasal breathe and improve your tongue posture, and this can help with snoring, sleep apnea, and improvement in your overall health. As someone on a personal journey of relearning how to nose breathe and improve my own oral posture, these tiny little hacks are an absolute game changer when it comes to optimizing my health and performance. The best part? The ingredients are all natural and vegan friendly. Visit myospots.com and use coupon code LOZ10 to score 10% off your next purchase. Welcome back, Brian Bradley from Egoscue. How are you, mate?
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Good to be back. He's got the hat on and the matching shirt. I love it.
Yeah, I might as well just, I just wear this around town. I don't even have any other clothes.
I love it, mate. In the previous episode, we spoke about some of the challenges that you've overcome in your quest to where you are now, and as well as the things that you've done in your life that have led you to your success. You do love to travel quite a bit, and I'm sure that you've actually eaten some very diverse foods in your travels on your way. If you knew that you only had 24 hours left to live, what would your day's menu look like?
Oh, wow. Just from the coffee pork in Singapore and the Sri Lankan crab that I had from this place that was just unbelievable. We did a chili crab, we did a black pepper crab, and then we did an egg crab. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Wow.
So what would be on the menu if this were my last day on earth? That would be for dinner. And then, of course, the sticky toffee pudding from somewhere in England. But for breakfast, I'd for sure be having my mold-free coffee. I wouldn't even deviate from that, because if it's going to be my last day, it's going to be so you know that.
So that's very well thought out. So would you intermittent fast still with your coffee in the morning, or if it was your last day?
Eat around 2 p.m., but I wouldn't eat from about 7 o'clock from the night before. So I do have the coffee in the morning, but that in your system, I don't use it for, hey, I'd like to be in shape. Come on, I'm in my mid-50s. I'm not gonna have a 22-year-old abs, and nor do I care to show them on Instagram. Thank you, Instagram people. So it's going to be one of those things where I look at it as, if I could just stay functional and then just enjoy the day. That's one thing you asked me before. Who are the people that I kind of look up to and who have mentored me in the sense of the line of thinking? You're either open or you're not open to listening to other people from day one of your birth. And I just happen to be one of those people who was always okay with, I know what I don't know. And that's a very powerful one.
So from here on in, we're going to get into some of the nitty-gritty details of your daily habits. To start, what would you consider your healthy habit, the healthiest habit rather, and why?
Water intake.
Yeah.
Absolutely number one. I know it's too simple, but I'll fill this bottle up maybe 5 or 6 times, and I squeeze some lemon in there. I know it goes in as acidic, but it works as alkaline. It's very healthy for you. My dentist doesn't like it because they're like, oh my gosh, all that lemon on your teeth, you're driving me crazy. But, I will tell you that is a number one habit. Number 2, no joke, floss your teeth 3 times a day.
Yeah, right.
But not like this with those strings, because it tears the shit out of your gums. You're like, oh, and it's a pain. So I buy those little glides and I drive my car and I'm doing this, and people drive by, they're like, oh my God, he must be a dentist. I'm like, no, but I do speak to them. So, you'll get all kinds of stuff in there. When I first started doing it, I told my dentist, when they go up into your gums, they're going 3, 4, 6, and the higher the number, the worse it is. I thought the higher the number, the better it was. I'm thinking, I'm winning. I got a 6. Meanwhile, it's destruction of your sublingual system, which is tied right into your heart. So you could literally floss yourself to a more resilient gum tissue, which then helps with salivation and helps with your body breaking down foods. 35% of it should chew our food enough. That's the third thing that I think is another health tip. 20 to 35 times, put your fork down, chew your food to liquid, because you can break it down there and make it a lot easier on your stomach and intestine.
They're great tips. I've had nobody give me 3 tips. So definitely starting with those 3 things, they'd be your healthiest habits. I'm sure our audience would love to know, do you have any unhealthy habits?
Of course. Listen, I'm half Italian, so anything with red sauce I love, because it takes me back. Why? Because my mother would sit and make meatballs and red sauce for hours, and then we would sit down and it would be like, oh, mama, your gnocchi's amazing. This stromboli's this red sauce. So when somebody says, stop eating carbs, you shouldn't have any gluten. And I tell them, no, this takes me back psychologically to a place where I was very comfortable.
Yeah.
So yes, it is a comfortable eating place, a memory, but I'm telling you, it's somebody else would call it unhappy. But I will tell you, I don't think there's a such thing if you just change your mindset.
100%.
So a bite of a piece of pizza where somebody would say, oh my God, it's so unhealthy. I would say, this pizza is not unhealthy because I view it as not unhealthy. It has the nutrients, it has the protein, the carbohydrate, the fat that my body needs. Why would I think of it as negative? Especially when it's tied to a family memory. My body's only going to absorb it in a very positive way.
Exactly. And I think that if we look at food oh, sorry, what was that?
I've willed it to happen, so it happens.
Yeah. And just like, if something serves you in some way, then it's fun. But that's an unhealthy habit. Is there any habits that you'd like to change?
I don't know if there's habits I'd like to change. Because I got rid of habits where I used to judge people, stuff like that a long time ago. I'd already, the judging of another person is only a breakdown of your psychology and your heart. So honestly, when somebody says, when you have someone who comes in and says, you need to do this, you didn't do this, and blah, 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 right away we get defensive. Now you have 2 choices. Take it personally and absorb it and then fight back. Or take it seriously and then say, I wonder if anything that I did is provoking that response from them. I'm wondering if I'm guilty on any of that. Then assume it's true. Like, they must be right. I'm going to look for where the flaw is in my behavior. And if you find one, then you walk up to them and just say, you're absolutely right. And coming from a guy like me, like, bigger, faster, stronger, or somebody like Luke Wren, who handles the Life Mastery, he's a big 200 and something, for him to walk up and go, I'm sorry. People are like, what? That kind of stuff. And especially in relationships, like, I could tell every guy listening to this, just shut up. Honestly, she is not coming to you, or your partner, he is not coming to you in a way to try to attack you. They're speaking on their feelings and how they feel. So if you could just calm down and go, maybe I did something to cause this. Let me ask a better question. Because the person in charge of the conversation is the one listening.
Yeah.
Not the. So like you say, okay, are those things? Yeah. Not that I would want to change something, but I guess I could be a better listener. But I changed that a long time ago and said, I'm going to not be the one that's right all the time.
Yeah, I love that. And that's such a simple thing. I think vulnerability in that situation is really the important thing. Great advice, mate. And, I think that you're definitely on your way to improving that constantly every single day, because it's just a work in progress, really, changing any habit. Do you have a morning routine? We touched before on your bulletproof coffee and your intermittent fasting. What does that sort of look like for you, your morning routine?
Well, I'm the weirdo that sits out on my front porch or my backyard, especially now with the French bulldog. I make the coffee. It's very cathartic. I do my exercises, arm circles, elbow curls, overhead extension, while the coffee is being in the coffee press before I press it for 4 minutes. And then if I have time, I'll do the running man, all that stuff. I could say that I've been slacking on that a little bit because I'm like, I don't really want to get all sweaty this time in the morning. It's a repositioning thing. And then I'll go out in the yard and sit down with my dog and run around and build that relationship and throw stuff with them and have fun. Or I'll sit out on the front porch and I'll read a book, number one, which never used to happen. But that's a routine for me. Before I get into what does my house need? What does my business need? What do my business partners need? You know, it's okay to be selfish a little bit. It's got to be about you first.
Agreed.
Other people around you can't absorb what you're trying to sell because you haven't taken care of yourself. So it's okay to be a little selfish. And yeah, it is about me. And when somebody, this is another interesting thing that brings me up to especially male listeners. When somebody comes up to you and says, you're really good at what you do, what's your answer? What do you think most people answer? You're really good at what you do.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Correct. You know my answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And then I wait. And they're like, like almost like they want to say, well, you don't have to be that cocky about it. And I'm saying, look, I'm not being cocky. I want you to understand one thing. I'm freaking good at what I do because I actually give a shit.
Yeah.
And it's not about me. I don't need more. I have more. Okay. I have more around me, more people that I like surrounding myself with, you know, the cars and all the other BS that comes with all the material BS. But I also get to travel the world. I get to meet people. I get to work with the Conor McGregors. I get to work with the Niners. We have people up on site there. I get to look at Major League Baseball players. I get to come to Australia and meet people, cool people like you, and talk about future strategic stuff that we can do together. You know, where else can you get that unless you create it? You know, I didn't come from a family of nepotism where it's like, hey, I'm inheriting my dad's business. And I don't want to go into my business. I want him to do more somewhere else. He's actually building 2 homes right now, his senior year in high school, 2 houses. He's building 2 houses for 2 homeless veterans. And to me, I'm going, I raised a good kid. You know, he's actually doing more by doing that than anything that I'm doing. But you couldn't tell that to somebody when they're in chronic pain because that's their number one focus they want to get rid of.
Yeah. That's pretty incredible. I mean, hats off to your parenting. That sounds like an extraordinary thing to do. And obviously, starting your day in an extraordinary way means that you can create an extraordinary life, right?
That's right. And it's not that hard. People think that you're living an extraordinary life and they go, oh, I couldn't be her. I couldn't look like that. I couldn't do this. Oh, yeah, you could. You really could. You may not get to be the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the world, right? If you wanted to work out, you can get to your version of that better than where you self-judgment. Yeah.
So, you know, going back to some of the daily things that you do you have a good night's sleep, a bedtime ritual, and about how many hours of sleep per night do you get?
Okay, that's a good one. I'll show you. I have these glasses that are called bed spectacles.
Wow.
So you see the mirror that's inside there?
Yes. So these are glasses. They look like something that like an optometrist.
So if I was a rock climber, the biggest thing with rock climbing is I'm always looking up, right? It's bad for my neck. Like, oh, that hurts. So they make where you wear them like this. And now I'm looking at my ceiling. So I wear them like this. So I'm actually reading a book like this, but I lay on my back. So they're like that. And the reflection is your screen. So I don't have to lift my head to look at your screen when I'm laying on my back.
Those are next level.
And they're only $8 on Amazon. They're called bed spectacles.
Bed spectacles. Wow.
He wants to get in here. Time on my back allows me to open up my mid-thoracic area, like after a hard day of training or working or driving or flying or do whatever I do. 15 hours at UPW on that Sunday for health day. I'm constantly talking at the booth on concrete that's pushing up against my body. I better be resilient enough. And when I say I'm trying to substitute put every person into this position. I'm giving you guys little ideas of things you could do, before you ever have to spend something or time or money with me. You could try to knock this out as much as possible. I joke around that people could cat and dog me out of business if they did it right.
Today's episode is sponsored by MyoSpot's tongue elevation trainers. MyoSpots are small dissolvable pads about 6 by 2 millimeters in size. They stick to the roof of your mouth and slowly dissolve with tongue elevation. Over 1 hour of tongue elevation, you'll learn to nasal breathe and improve your tongue posture, and this can help with snoring, sleep apnea, and improvement in your overall health. As someone on a personal journey of relearning how to nose breathe and improve my own oral posture, these tiny little hacks are an absolute game changer when it comes to optimizing my health and performance. The best part? The ingredients are all natural and vegan friendly. Visit myospots.com and use coupon code LOZ10 to score 10% off your next purchase. Now, back to the show. How many hours of sleep do you reckon you get a night on average? Because you travel quite a bit, hey?
Minimum 7 hours, I would say.
That's good. That's perfect, actually.
Any longer, I'm just like, I'm bored. Any less than that means something happened where I'm up, then I'm just pissed off.
Yeah, I understand. What's your favorite way to move your body to optimize your energy, your mobility, and your physical vitality? Other than Egoscue.
Yeah, no, other than Egoscue.
Ooh.
Kind of biased.
That's why it's a good question.
So, for example, here's my Instagram, and one of the things that I'm doing on Instagram, this is a pre-push-up routine.
Okay.
Where I'm going under the Smith machine, and it's a lateral movement. When's the last time you moved laterally? And then there's this one, which is an absolute game changer. This is something that I'll do.
Okay, so this is a hip drive exercise. Oh, so it's like a bench jump?
They're called side overs. And we were doing these back in the late 80s, early 90s, and people are going, "Oh, you're crazy. What are you doing? I mean, I'm a quarterback." And it's like, yeah, but your hip has to be able to throw. To a point where I'll use other pieces of equipment like the Viper. And I'll do something like that for spinal flexion. You can see how my back's rounding over at the bottom.
Okay.
But the big deal is getting people out of the box. Because I get questions, people going, "Hey, what are you training for?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "You're doing like all these crazy things. What do you do?" And I said, "I play ping pong." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, I play table tennis, I play in tournaments and all that kind of stuff. I played against the Australian junior national team before. Japan, I played against the national team, practicing with them. Yes, they're amazing players, so I got beat by the top players, but had fun showing them how another person from a different type of training gets hit. But the only reason why I'm able to do that in my 50s is because my body's balanced from top to bottom because of things like that. And I love traditional weightlifting. I love it. I absolutely love it. But the issue is, we invented the idea around functional movement. I remember that back in the early 90s and late 80s, and people were just laughing. They're like, "Functional what? Blah, 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 blah." I'm like, okay. And now everybody and their mother is doing functional movement.
Yes.
But I also don't like the idea that people are doing it incorrectly. They think by doing yoga, you're going to get strong. No offense against yoga. I love it. But you're yoga strong versus weightlifting strong, there's a big difference. The weightlifting strong mixed with yoga strong, honestly, could bring you the yoga.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get caught up in having to train for something, or they get really fixated on a particular type of activity. I get asked the same question. People go, "What are you training for?" Because, I was doing bodybuilding comps for a very long time. And I just say, "I'm training for life, mate." Training for life. And this is like you, just training to be the best version of yourself functionally, agility. People forget that real vitality comes from a combination of flexibility, agility, mobility, strength, endurance, cardiovascular fitness, It
ties down to one thing.
Mm-hmm.
If upper back is in a position of flexion and rotation and you don't even know it, then everything that you just mentioned is compromised. Because so is your breathing, so is the functional movement of your shoulders. Your head position is there. That's why you're not clear. That's why you can't handle an argument with your partner. It sets you off because you're not thinking straight. All of this the foundation has to be the alignment of the S curve of the spine.
Yeah.
The problem is you've lost that. You've got to become a hip mover to get the spine to sit straight.
So, you spoke a little bit earlier about these glasses that you wear for your nighttime ritual. Are there any other biohacking tech devices or supplements that you use in your daily routine to sort of keep your vitality and your energy high?
Absolutely. You know the company True Dark?
Yes.
I wear their amber glasses after, say, 6 p.m. I wear the red glasses on the airplane, which cuts out all blue and white light. And I use the filter on my computer, and I use the daytime, the day walkers from True Dark, usually when I'm on a computer like this, because the screen's right in your face, and it's just not good for you.
Yeah.
But I do get out in the sun every single day. I mean, I live in Southern California, so anywhere between 8 o'clock and 12 o'clock, when the sun's like getting to its hottest, I love 15 minutes in the sun every day if you can get it.
Yeah, and it does wonders for your health and your sleep as well, I think. I know a lot of people, some of our listeners live in climates where they don't get great sun, and, there are hacks for that. But I think it's great that you're sort of utilizing tech and devices to really optimize yourself. So what's the one thing you're going to be focusing on this week, and what measures are you going to be putting in place to give it energy?
Number one, I'm going to start taking cold showers again, because I got about 2 weeks of not doing it. The water wasn't cold enough. And then once I went up to Sun Valley, it was okay cold, but San Diego's water is now cold because we're in the desert climate and in the winter, and it gets cold enough. I'm talking like 3 minutes of get me the heck out of here. And it literally just invigorates everything. You guys can do your own research on that, but even the Wim Hof stuff and getting it into your breathing, but not actually looking at the cold shower as, okay, here it goes, and it's going to hurt. It's, remember, you get what you expect. Walk in and go like this. I own you. Let's go. Bring it on, and walk right into the cold shower and slow your breathing down. And that way your mindset dictates your physiological response. And I can't stress enough that, I'm not all about mindset. I'm more about posture positioning, and then your mindset better be open to this posture positioning is going to create something massive for me.
Change your state, change your mind, change your life, right? I love that. Actually, cold showers for me is the thing that I've been doing this week. I've gone back to having cold showers as of 2 days ago. So there you go.
Listeners who are going, there's not a chance that I'm taking a cold shower. And I promise you, get it as cold as possible and give it 1 minute in the middle of your shower. If you have to go hot, okay, here we go. Go cold, and then go to hot to finish again. And then eventually you'll go, hey, I don't need to finish with that. And then you're going to go 3 minutes and go, I'm good.
Well, oh, you cut out there. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. I was saying, let it hit your throat, the back of your neck, and your head,
I think that there's a lot of merit in temperature stuff. A lot of people get scared. Here in Australia, it's like freaking 36 degrees Celsius. So having a cold shower isn't so hard. It just makes it more challenging when you keep doing it through winter. So start in summer, guys. Start when it's hot. Gets a little bit easier to get used to.
That's exactly right. Because you wouldn't hesitate in jumping into a cold pool after you've been in the sun for a while.
Exactly. So clearly you love teaching and adding immense value to people's lives through educating them. I'd really love to know, and I'm sure our listeners would as well, what's your most ambitious goal for 2020, and how are you going to make it a reality?
Most ambitious goal. I'm actually heading to a event. I'm going up to Boulder, Denver to do some training there. So I'm going up to an event where I'm taking 3 of my friends are going to meet me up there too, and we're going to go skiing and snowboarding in Breckenridge. But prior to that, I'm going up to do some meetings. I have business goals, which are one of the things I'm doing in there is I'm launching every single healthcare professional around the world that I can think of, from massage therapy to dentistry to orthopedic surgery to personal trainer to physical therapist, chiropractor. I don't care who they are. I want them to have one of our picture grids in their offices and an iPad with their software on it, our software, where they can take a picture of their customer, all 4 views, send us the pictures, and then I send you back a set of exercises specific for that person. So now you're doing the Egoscue method out of your clinic that is an adjunct to your therapy. I'm going to charge you a nominal fee. You guys charge whatever you want. I don't care if it's any more than I charge you, or you can charge it 10 times over and turn it into a business model. That's one of the things that I'm absolutely going to have happen in 2020. And I'm looking at numbers. We were talking about the other day, they're like, well, it'd be nice to have 100 people. I'm like, 100 people, my butt. I'm like, we're going to get a minimum of 1,000, and then it's going to be then it's going to compound itself. From a personal standpoint, more time with family and friends and stuff, even with my travel schedule. Because the cool part of this is my son's going to probably sign a D1 scholarship this week, and to play for a college out here, and it'll be an hour and a half to 2 hours away, or 5 hours away if he goes to another college that we were talking about. Well, the cool part is that gives me enough time now that, now I got to throw that travel schedule in, and starting to look at my business schedule. Is it negatively or positively? Now, I never thought of it as negative, but again, I'm not on the receiving side of me being gone. So it's always about, is it affecting me negatively? Well, has it affected other people around me? So I'm very cognitive of that. So one is business, the other one's personal. I don't have a lot of things where people go, man, I got to fix this and this and this. Or, when somebody says, what's your main goal? I go, world domination. What do you mean? But as it relates to pain, yeah, that is my goal. We're going to dominate pain in a positive way where the customer feels and knows that they're in charge of their overall health.
Man, that's a pretty ambitious goal, and you are definitely going to achieve that hands down.
Well, I just need other people's help.
Yeah.
That's why I'm employ, looking at it going, I can't do this myself. And with all the colleagues and partners that I have, we're going to have to get our grids into their stuff, let them turn it into their own business model. Now we're working like ambassador to ambassador. Great. And the winner is the customer who says, boy, I had stem cell injections and I did these exercises. And my back pain feels so much better. The stem cells must be working. I don't care who gets the credit. Just do the exercises.
Yeah. And that's all it really comes down to at the end of the day. Like if somebody's beliefs get them into a better space, I think it's a win-win for everybody. So finally, for anyone in our audience who's interested in learning more about how Egoscue can strategically shift their life just by increasing their awareness of their posture, where can you suggest they start?
Well, they can go to egoscue.com, which I'm sure you'll have in the show notes, but anybody listening to this, it's EGO, like ego, SCUE.com, egoscue.com. And we have a at Egoscue method for Instagram. We have the Egoscue method, the Brian Bradley for Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, which I get a lot of DMs on that. If you guys have personal questions, I try to find them and just be patient because I didn't see them right away. You can email me, bbradley@Egoscue, which we'll put all these in the show notes, because I don't want your listeners to go, well, that was great. Let's move on to the next podcast.
Yeah.
There is no next podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. I look at this as you need to start employing something as your foundation. And then everything else you hear on every other podcast will be enhanced by 100,000%.
Exactly. And what a great way to finish this interview, because guys, everything that is on this podcast is there to help you guys as listeners improve the quality of your life. And remember, success leaves clues. So, the amazing Brian Bradley is unstoppable as per his hat, and proof that if you just change 2 millimeters at a time, guys, just 2 millimeters, that's all it takes. If you can continuously stack change and create healthy habits, you're going to live an absolutely extraordinary life. Brian, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you today, mate. And I really appreciate the time that you've taken out of your very busy, hectic schedule to share some of the challenges, some of the wins and the intricacies of your daily life. Thank you so much.
Listen, my pleasure. Thank you guys. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. And it's just about helping people get better, including ourselves.
100%, mate. Thanks again and take care.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us this week on the Healthy Habit Hot Seat. Make sure to visit lozlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, I'd be stoked with a 5-star rating on iTunes. Better still, tell a friend and share the love. If you loved this episode, you might want to check out my book, The Healthy Habit Handbook, available in softcover, ebook, and audio form on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Balboa Press, and all good bookstores. Be sure to tune in for our next episode for your fortnightly dose of inspiration from some of the world's most successful and healthy lifestyle masters. Remember, stay inspired. I'm Loz Antonenko, and ciao for now.